ML Sports Take, brought to you by our good friends at Elevate Fitness of Syracuse and Welch and Company Jewelers. The Cincinnati Bengals take care of business in Orchard Park, and frankly, it was a 17-point win. It was only 10 for the lead at half, but it felt like 40 the entire game because the Bengals absolutely dominated the Buffalo Bills today. They came into this game, 3 offensive linemen down, a 4th one got hurt in this game. Didn't matter. They pushed the Bills all over the field. The Bills defense was absolutely atrocious today, an embarrassing performance. And of course, Joe Burrow is a guy who can get rid of the ball immediately. He threw it 36 times today. It didn't feel that way. 23 of 36 for 242 and 2 touchdowns. Most of his bread was buttered in the first half. Joe Mixon, another 100-yard game and a touchdown. The Bills have not, under Leslie Frazier, been able to tackle and been able to stop the run, and that happened again today, coinciding with Joe Burrow dominating on the football field. Again, most of it coming in the first half. Jamar Chase, again, statistically, wasn't a crazy great game for the Bengals. 5 and 61 and a touchdown, 5 and 59 and a touchdown. But it was the continuous open plays, the chunk yardage, just complete efficiency and execution by Cincinnati. The Buffalo Bills are just not an elite team. I'm sorry. I mean, I know that everybody going into this show, the overwhelming Super Bowl favorites and all this sort of stuff, and they, hyping expectations, and they started out great, and they had a couple of lulls, which is normal in an NFL season. But I went into this season never thinking that they were going to win the Super Bowl. I just didn't think that they were going to win it. They have so many holes on this team, and it's really coming up front and center when you play teams like Cincinnati and Kansas City. The Bills are just not in that class. They're a little bit better, the Bengals are, than the Bills in many areas, and the Chiefs are in that compartment as well. They're a little bit better in every area than the Bills. I don't care if the Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. They can't beat them in the postseason. Last year, I think, was the Bills' year. They were the best team in the NFL. They lose with 13 seconds on the clock in Kansas City. Inexcusable coaching, inexcusable game planning, and I feel like that might have been the year. Now, I hope I'm wrong, but you got to understand, when people say that the Bills' Super Bowl window is as open as long as Josh Allen plays, you're out of your mind, because Josh Allen today went 25 of 42 for 265. He did throw the interception, didn't throw one touchdown today. He did have the rushing touchdown. Josh Allen, it doesn't matter what he would have done today because his offensive line was horrible the majority of the game. Josh Allen's interception came late in the game, basically just forcing the issue. Before that, he had done a pretty decent job hanging onto the ball and not throwing picks and, controlling the turnovers that have really, really nailed him here this year. But the offensive line's a joke. I mean, Brandon Beane is a great GM, but boy, he really missed on Roger Saffold signing him this year. He had a horrible year. Spencer Brown regressing. Ryan Bates is a roller coaster. They don't have a lot of depth there. Deion Dawkins took a step back even this year. And Mitch Morse, while he was in there, was great, but he has concussion history and he's always injured. So you got to go into the offensive line pool in the NFL draft if you're the Bills. I think the Bills still need to find a bona fide running back. I mean, you cannot run the ball for 63 yards in Western New York with that weather in the playoffs and expect to have a ton of success. The Bengals had 172 yards today on the ground. You want to talk about complimentary football that Sean McDermott has been yelling and screaming about for forever here? How about the Bengals complimentary football, huh? 172 yards on the ground, 242 through the air. That's complimentary football, not 63 yards on the ground for the Bills and 265 yards through the air. It's just not possible. It looked like Stephon Diggs was kind of taken out of the game again today. They really couldn't get the ball to people. The Bills had, just a couple really, really horrendous offensive possessions. I mean, and it started from the beginning of the game. The Bengals dominated this game right from the beginning. The Bills, a lot of 3 and outs, a lot of miscues, a lot of stupid crap, a lot of penalties, special teams holding. I mean, just pinning them back. So many things were working against the Bills today because they caused it. And then also Cincinnati was just that much better of a football team. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds was the best player on the field. Well, probably him and Milano today were the 2 best players. Milano had a sack, 10 total tackles, 7 solo, 12 total tackles, and 10 were solo for Tremaine Edmonds. Hopefully, Brandon Beane can find a way to bring him back. And, we don't know what Jordan Poyer's status is. It's going to be a sad thing if that's the last play as a Buffalo Bill where he collided just headfirst with Trey White, who, by the way, is also just not what he used to be since the injury injury. This guy cannot move around. He can't keep up with a number 1 wide receiver. He can't keep up with a 2. He can't keep up with a 3. He can't keep up with a 4. And as you saw today, he can't keep up with a 5-stringer. I mean, everywhere he turned, he's pulling jerseys. He can't keep up. And that was the story basically ever since he came back. So Trey White is just not what he used to be. I don't know if he ever will be again. Who knows? Those injuries are just such a question mark. The Bills had Dean Marlowe go down today, which didn't help, obviously, from a tackling standpoint because Jaquan Johnson is average at best. He did go in there and get 7 total tackles, and 5 were solo, but Jaquan Johnson being, one of your reliable safeties is just not where you want to be. So, this game was won right from the beginning. The Bengals set the tone. The Bengals had a better game plan. The Bengals outcoached the Bills. The Bills hung on to 3 timeouts in the first half. I mean, what would they do with vacation days? They're not going to use them by the end of the year, apparently, right? I mean, 3 timeouts, don't you use them somewhere? Don't you use them on a 3rd down? I mean, anywhere. You get late in the second quarter and the Bengals are torching you on 3rd down. I mean, don't you try to, use a timeout or 2? I mean, just to use them. How about these? How about this for domination too, by the way? 30-18 first down advantage for the Bengals. 3rd down efficiency, 6 for 10. The Bengals were. I mean, that was a huge part of the game. I talked about that going in. They were the number 3 team in 3rd down offense, number 5 in red zone offense, and they cashed in yet again on both in both circumstances. The Bills went 4 of 12 right there. The Bills went for it on 4th down twice, went 2 of 3. Bengals didn't make an attempt there. Total yards, 412 to 325, man. I mean, 5.8 to 5.2 in terms of average yards per play. I can go on and on and on here, with the domination. Look at this. The Bengals had 2 penalties for 9 yards. The Bills, 8 for 60. Again, the coaching, when it comes to this time of year, it's just not elite. And the Bills are not elite. They have a long way to go to get into the category of Kansas City and the category of Cincinnati. Now we wait until next year, get into the draft. It's going to be a long off season in Buffalo. The fans are going to be pissed off. People are going, I can't believe they didn't win the Super Bowl. And the excuses for the Von Miller situation being injured, they're going to come, right forefront after this loss too. I can't wait for the excuses from the Bills fans on that. But the reality is, and I'm just pointing facts. I'm not, everybody wants to come at me now, maybe probably like, oh, you're not a real fan. Well, you know what? My job isn't just to be a real fan. It's to cover and talk about this shit. And the Bills looked like shit today. And that's the bottom line. They may have played their worst game of the year today when it mattered most. At home, divisional playoff, AFC title game at a neutral site on the table, all sorts of things, all sorts of opportunities. Another AFC East division win this year, 13 wins, fighting through all the adversity. And it was all about today to get to the next stop. And I'm not saying it's easy, but the Bills got absolutely shellacked in every part of the game today, and Cincinnati deserves a lot of credit. The Bills had a decent year, but not a great year, certainly for a team that had Super Bowl expectations, and now the Josh Allen money kicks in. Tremaine Edmonds, Poyer, Singletary, they're all free agents. Brandon Beane's got a lot of work to do, need help on the O-line, got to get safety help. We'll see what Von Miller does. He won't be back for months anyway from the ACL. This Bills team is just, they're a good team. They're a good team. That's it. They're not a great team. They're not an elite team. Cincinnati is a great team. Kansas City has been a great and elite team. So we'll see what happens in the offseason. But certainly always through and through will be a diehard Buffalo Bills fan, loving this team, loving the community, loving the fan base, loving all my listeners and watchers. But this was an ugly day for the Bills. ML Sports Takes, Stanley Law Offices and Rosie's Corner, bringing it to you. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And as I always tell you, enjoy the games.